Hello, everybody. Can you see the creator here? I'm back.
Udi has served a purpose, and everyone had their status quo changed in one fell swoop. Man, it's like they had to squeeze more of their story into less episodes because Disney wouldn't give them a full third season or something. I don't know. So, that's what all the good guys are up to. What about the villains? Well, as we know, Belos is still working on rebuilding the portal and prepping for the Day of Unity with the Collector. We don't know much about him yet, we just know he's super powerful. Though technically he's trapped in that moon tablet, communicating with Belos as a shadow on the wall. And Belos struck a deal with the Collector. He teaches Belos super powerful magic to help with the Day of Unity, and in return, Belos will use some of his Titan's blood to set him free from the tablet. I'm sure he'll keep up his end of the bargain. But it's not just Belos that...
And let me tell you, my favorite scene was when the Collector freaking flicked Belos right across. He was like, he turned into gosh, mush. And I was laughing so freaking hard. No, first I was like, oh my gosh. Then I was laughing. And that is my most replayed scene in the Oval House besides that dance with Amity and Luce. Besides that dance with Amity and Luce, the most replayed scene I kept doing was when the Collector just freaking flipped Belos. Every time. I would rewatch that over and over and over and over again. No matter how many times I watch it, even thinking about it, y'all can see the smile on my face. I'm still laughing. Hilarious. Okay, sorry.
Luce and the gang have to put up with this season. There's also Belos' nephew and right-hand man, the Golden Guard, aka Hunter. This guy's a pretty consistent thorn in our hero's sides throughout the season, but after a few run-ins with Luce and her friends, you can see him start to question what he's doing, especially as we see how Belos mistreats him and hands him empty promises so he'll do what he's told. Man, so many mysteries with this Belos guy. If only we could find out what he's thinking, like really just travel inside his mind. So Luce travels inside his mind, and she brought Hunter with her. It was an accident, but this gives her a great opportunity to find out more about Belos' plan and show Hunter that he shouldn't trust Belos. The two go exploring through Belos' mind, and we finally get all the answers. First off, the Day of Unity. Belos promised the people of the Boiling Isles that the Day of Unity would purge the world of wild magic and create a new paradise for the worthy. And well, at least half of that's true, but the full story is way more concerning. See, Belos has been working with the Collector on something called a draining spell that he plans to cast on the Day of Unity, which will zap all the power from every witch branded with the Coven sigil and wipe out not just all magic, but all life in the Boiling Isles. And all in the name of protecting humanity from evil. So yeah, that's not a good thing. Though it does explain why Belos dedicated so much of his life to creating the Coven system and the bogus stories behind it. It allowed him to easily brand nearly every witch with some kind of sigil. The dude's nothing more than a witch hunter who used snake oil tactics to gain power, even changing his name to Belos because Philip kept getting run out of town. And also, let's not ignore this, Belos is old. Like, way old. Remember, this is the same guy.
Also, I have a question. I don't think we ever answered it in the freaking cartoon, but where the heck did the name Belos come from? Seriously. In the Owl House, they never mentioned how the freak he turned from Phil. Like, we saw the psychological journey and everything of how he turned from Philip to Belos, right? But where did he get the name Belos from? Like, that's what's the real mystery. Where did he get the name Belos from? That's just what I'm wondering. Oh, well, that's all I want to say.
Guy Luce had to discover time travel just to meet. He's been consuming the souls of Palisman as a way of keeping himself alive, but all those Palisman souls jostling around inside of him have warped and corrupted him. So he's always on the verge of transforming into this hideous monster. But that's not all. Hunter sees firsthand how Belos' stories about wild magic hurting his family were all lies to sell people in the Coven system. He even faked being attacked by wild witches in front of a crowd of people with the help of... that's the Golden Guard. That's Hunter. And I don't mean they look similar, I mean, that is Hunter. But this was a long time ago. How's that work? So...
Calling all Autobots. Roll out.
So yeah, here we find out that Hunter is something called a Grimwalker.
Yeah.
Basically a copy of someone Bellos knew a long time ago. And he's not the first. Hunter is just the latest in a long line of copies. All the others went against Bellos at one point or another, so he, got rid of them. Hunter learns he's not who he thought he was. Luce learns exactly who Bellos is, and the two manage to escape Bellos' mind. But now, they're in more danger than ever. Bellos knows they were in his mind, so they gotta hide. Hunter leaves the Emperor's Coven and starts hiding out at Hexside School, and Luce just takes a little trip to another mysterious, uncharted place with Hootie and King, where they all meet... Oh! More kings! Dude, is this King's family? Well, no, unfortunately. These guys are just regular old witches who call themselves Titan Trappers. According to them, though Titans are supposedly extinct, there's still one more out there, and they've dedicated their lives to learning to trap that Titan so they can kill it. You know, mercilessly, and with murder. Heck, they even dress up like Titans to trap it. Huh. Well, this has implications. So... King, just a little guy King, is a Titan. The last of the Titans. Those unfathomably gigantic creatures who are basically the gods of this world. The creatures so powerful that even just a drop of their blood can create interdimensional portals?
Yep.
Yeah, King is, one of that. And he's currently surrounded by an entire town of people who have dedicated their lives to trapping and killing his kind. Naturally, Luce scoops up King and bolts out of there. Don't worry, she took Hootie too. They all make it back safe, and the owl house has been ransacked. Yeah, the Emperor had the whole place trashed. Luckily, Ida and Lilith were able to escape, and everyone eventually reunites. Ida, Lilith, Luce, King, and an entire secret rebellion group. So, turns out, Rain and their bards are all okay, and the two coven heads that captured them before, Darius and Everwolf, were actually on their side the entire time. Cool! Oh, and there's Steve. He's Steve. These guys all formed a rebellion to stop the Day of Unity, and they've got a plan. See, Bellos needs all 9 of the Coven Heads' magic to power the draining spell, so the group wants Ida, disguised as Rain, to take their place so the Owlbeast curse can corrupt the spell. Which means, after a lifetime of avoiding it, Ida finally had to join a Coven and be given a sigil. Meanwhile, Luce finally meets back up with her friends Willow and Gus, plus Hunter, who's now on their side. He's like best friends with Gus, it's cool. And of course, Amity. I kind of feel bad that I've not been talking about her as much. She's been dealing with a lot of her own family stuff this season. Her mom is super controlling, very business-oriented, and she's been creating these robots for the Emperor's army. Meanwhile, her dad has just kind of been letting it all happen, even though no one is happy. Eventually, he does kind of talk to Amity, and they start to work things out. But the mom, just total lost cause. She knew about everything Bellos was planning. She was just a total, just like, there is definitely a divorce in the future. But Luce and Amity finally reunite, and even share their first kiss, which is an incredibly sweet moment. You can tell it's important because the animation gets fancier. But before too long, Luce gets kidnapped and taken back to Bellos' lair. You know, the Titan's head? Bellos himself attracts a massive crowd to the Day of Unity ceremony and begins the draining spell. He then quickly zips back to the Titan's head where the Collector's like, "This is awesome! You're gonna release me now, right?" Right? Yeah. Shocker! Bellos doesn't hold up his end of the bargain and straight up tosses the Collector's tablet down a chasm. This is also where he put the other hunters when he killed them. You can see their remains. They're all dead down there. And all this just in time for Luce to finally get dropped off at the lair. So once again, it's Luce against Bellos. Meanwhile, at the ceremony, Ida and Rain's plan does work to corrupt the draining spell, until the Coven Heads catch on to their plan and force Rain to take their spot in the spell, allowing it to fully activate, draining all the life and power from any witch branded with a sigil. So fun! Everyone's about to die! But back at the Titan's head, Luce pulls a fast one on Bellos, again, and uses this glove she found straight up just lying around his lair to brand Bellos with a sigil, meaning he's now being affected by his own draining spell. But instead of reversing the spell, he collapses and transforms into that giant gross monster right as Luce's friends show up to help out, including King, who manages to find the Collector's tablet down in that chasm and starts chatting. The Collector immediately recognizes King as a Titan, which means he has the power to set him free. So the two strike a deal. King sets the Collector free if the Collector stops the draining spell. One pinky promise later, and the tablet cracks open, unleashing... that guy from FNAF. Okay, seriously, this is the Collector. He's a little kid with the powers of God. He stops Bellos mid-attack like it was nothing, and then with one boop of his forehead, he does this. I think Belos is dead. I mean, he just got splattered by an otherworldly cosmic entity with powers beyond comprehension. I don't think you can come back from that. The dude then stops the draining spell with just a wave of his finger, saving millions of lives in a second. But then he gets kind of carried away and starts bending the world around him for fun, putting Luce and her friends in immediate danger. Their only option to make it out alive being Belos' portal to the human realm.
I see where they're going with this.
Unfortunately, King wasn't able to escape with the others, leaving him and Ida in the Boiling Isles as Luce, Amity, Hunter, Willow, and...
Let me tell you that every time I rewatch her saying, "No, King," it just kills me inside. I'm like, I just can't. I can't do this anymore. It hurt. And let me tell you that I did not just rewatch this by myself. No. I watched reactions to that episode over and over and over again, and let me tell you, it hurt every time. If I watched it alone, if I watched a reaction, I just couldn't do it. Every time I was near breaking to tears. That is before season 3 came out. That was cool. It hurt so much. Whew. Okay, I'm good now.
Gus all become trapped in the human realm, officially bringing season 2 to an end. Yup! Luce takes everyone back to her house where she can finally reunite with her mom, and then the credits roll. Yeah, things definitely got a lot more intense this season, and unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot of the Owl House left after this. The upcoming 3rd season is not only going to be the show's last, but it's not even a full season. It's just 3 44-minute specials. But even with the show so close to its end, we've been left on the biggest cliffhanger so far. What is the Collector going to do to the Boiling Isles? What about King, Ida, Lilith, Rain, all of them? What's going to happen in the human realm? What about Hootie? We don't know yet, but what I do know is I want to watch Belos get splattered again. Oh man, that is brutal. And here we go. After 3 years and 3 seasons, kinda, the hit Disney Channel cartoon The Owl House has finally come to an end. This show about a girl named Luce stumbling into a new world of fantasy and adventure, meeting new friends like Ida and King, finding herself and saving the world was such an amazing experience. Even if Disney wanted to sabotage it every chance it had. I mean, where I live, the finale didn't air on YouTube until 1:30 a.m. Disney, why do you hate this show so much? But whatever. The show aired its final episode earlier this month, and as is tradition here, now I gotta recap the whole thing for you guys with some bad jokes and even worse drawings. Now, if you're just tuning in, this is the 3rd and final part in an ongoing series of Owl House recaps. And that means right away we're gonna be getting into massive big boy spoiler territory. So where'd we leave off in season 2? Oh yeah, Luce, Amity, Willow, Gus, and Hunter had all been flung back into the human realm after the events of the Day of Unity, where the evil Emperor Ghost teamed up with this cosmic entity called the Collector to cast a dangerous spell that would wipe out everyone in the Boiling Isles. King freed the Collector from this little moon tablet prison. He then absolutely destroyed Belos with the flick of his finger, and then he started wreaking havoc on the Boiling Isles. Plus, we learned that Belos used to be this jerk of a human named Philip Whittabane, who Luce accidentally helped when she traveled back in time to talk to him, not knowing that he was Belos. Oops. We found out that King is actually the last of an ancient race of magical behemoths called Titans, and that the giant Titan corpse that this whole land is built on is actually his dad. Fun times. Luce and Amity shared their first kiss, which Disney was just so cool about. And we found out that Luce's rival turned friend Hunter is actually one in a long line of clones of some dude Belos used to hunt witches with. Which, I'll just spoil it right now, it was his brother Caleb. It doesn't play too much into the plot of the last few episodes, so it's his brother. Hunter is a clone of Belos' brother Caleb. Yeah, if you're just hopping into this series, you've missed a lot. I mentioned basically all of this last time, but there were 2 little things that I did miss. First, right before the Day of Unity, Luce actually got her palisman, which are those cute animal things that turn into witches' staffs. But right now, it's just an egg, and it'll only hatch when Luce bonds with it by sharing her innermost desire. But since everything's so tense and chaotic and complicated right now, she doesn't even know what to think. So until then, egg up.
Not everybody gets a chance to save the world. ready?
And then there's Bellows. You might think this dude would be dead, considering his entire physical being was splattered against a wall like one of those sticky hands. But nah, he's just goop now. Living, breathing goop. And you see this? Yeah, that blink and you miss it moment at the end of the last episode is actually Bellows sneaking his way into the human realm. I kind of missed that part. And it's not that I just forgot to mention it. I turned the video off by that point. I just completely missed it. So, at the start of Season 3, Luce is back home for the first time in forever. And she and all of her friends take up shelter at her mom's house. So Luce is finally able to reunite with her mom, Camila, after months of being stuck in the demon realm. Oh, and don't forget, that shape-shifting demon who took Luce's place for a while, V, still there too. She seems to be doing well. Again, I'm sorry if you missed everything up to this point. There's a lot to keep track of. And even with the whole our home is being destroyed as we speak and we have no way to stop it thing kind of looming over everyone, the gang gets on pretty well in the human realm. They learn about human stuff, they try to build ways back to the demon realm, and Luce comes out to her mom as bi, which is super sweet. But obviously, as much fun as they might be having, they gotta get back to the Boiling Isles. But in order to do that, they'd need Titan's blood, a rare magical substance that is the key to creating portals between realms. Luckily, the shack that Amity, Willow, Gus, and Hunter are staying in just happened to have a map to Titan's blood buried under the floorboards. Yeah,
let me tell you.
That's convenient. And after enough digging, Hunter's palisman Flapjack managed to find it. Was that? Oh, right. That's another thing I forgot to mention last time. Hunter, the Grim Walker with no magical powers, got a palisman. Is a cute little cardinal named Flapjack and their best friends. So, with the map to Titan's blood in their hands, the group goes out to investigate, but Hunter stays behind for a minute, only to be attacked by evil goop. Yeah, so remember how Bellows got slushied by the Collector and then managed to ooze his way back into the human realm? Well, some of his gross, goopy self has been hiding out in this shack, and when Hunter touches this goop, Bellows starts to infect his mind, making Hunter see visions of Bellows everywhere and kind of driving him mad. So there's a lot going on, and things kind of reach a head on Halloween night when the gang all go to a local haunted hayride. Hunter once again sees a vision of Bellows in the distance, and realizing that Bellows must be after the Titan's blood too, he grabs Luce and they go off to investigate on their own, eventually reaching this nifty-looking graveyard. This is probably not nothing possible bad could happen here. No. And here, Bellows' possession of Hunter takes full control. Bellows, as Hunter, attacks Luce right as the rest of the gang find out where they ran off to, which means we've got our first big fight scene of the season. And it's got the fancy animation, too. Flapjack does their best to help in the fight, but Bellows just grabs them and cracks them open without a second thought. This freaking jerk. Birds. And this is the last straw. Hunter manages to regain control of himself long enough to grab the Titan's blood and toss it into a nearby lake. But Bellows takes back over and dives headfirst after it, nearly drowning Hunter. That is until Camila just jumps right in too, bringing Hunter back to the surface like a freaking hero. Bellows finally ejects himself from Hunter's body, grabs the Titan's blood, and just pieces out back to the demon realm. But Hunter is left barely clinging to life. That is until Flapjack, still heavily injured, flies in and sacrifices themselves so that their magic can revive Hunter. The gang then get up, dust themselves off, and hop through the portal after Bellows. Even Camila. Oh, V stays behind though, so say goodbye to them for the rest of the video. Bye, V! I like that you were voiced by Amethyst. So, while all this was going on, back in the Boiling Isles, the Collector is just messing the whole place up. He's like,
this is fun! Let's play a game!
And everyone else is like, yeah, the Collector's been running around turning everyone into toy puppets to play games with, but keeps King around to be friends. Flash forward a bit to when Luce and the gang make it back to the Demon Realm, and oh my god! Look at what the Collector's done to this place. This is a dang Lisa Frank nightmare. Where's Dippy Fresh when you need him? Jeez. But either way, they push forward and eventually find their way to their old school Hexside, where they meet a bunch of survivors and start to hatch a plan. They gotta get up there. That castle hovering above the Titan's head is called the Archives. The Collector's castle where he's storing all the people he's turned into puppets. And up in the Archives, the Collector just likes to hang out with King, who's trying desperately to rein in the Collector's destructive tendencies. But while the Collector isn't looking, King sneaks off to this secret lair deeper in the Archives where we find Ida and Lilith. Both safe, sound, and not toys. The three of them are working to learn about the Collector and find a way to eventually stop him so things can go back to normal. But King wants to be careful. The Collector, as powerful as he is just a kid, and it doesn't seem like he has any family left. King knows what it's like to be the last of his kind. He understands the Collector and wants to help, but also knows that he has to be stopped. Meanwhile, back at Hexside, just a whole bunch of crap's going down. Breaking it down real quick. 1, Luce uses memory magic to find this crazy glyph she once saw Belos use to travel directly to the Titan's head. That'll be useful. 2, Kikimora shows up. I can't remember if I've mentioned her, but she's crazy and starts attacking the gang. 3, after a series of unfortunate events involving Willow getting overwhelmed and losing control of her powers, Hunter somehow develops magic powers he never had before, using them to save his friends, and most importantly, 4, while hiding from Kikimora, Luce and Camila finally have a heart-to-heart talk where Camila apologizes for trying to turn Luce into something she's not. And having finally realized that all she ever wanted was to be understood, Luce's palisman egg finally begins to hatch. And just in time for the rest of the gang to catch up so they can all escape to the Titan's head. And that's the last we'll see of Kikimora. Say bye, everyone. Bye. I never really liked you. Once everyone's safe and sound at the Titan's head, Luce's palisman fully hatches, revealing a worm on a string. Okay, no. Well, kinda. This is Stringbean. They're a snake shifter, a weird little snake thing that can turn into whatever other creature they want. It's cute, and for a brief moment, everything seems okay. That is, until the Collector attacks. And, wait, is that Rain? What are they doing with the Collector? Ah, right. Yeah, forgot about that. So, while all this was happening, Goopy Goop Belos needed a new body to inhabit, eventually finding his way into the archives and possessing Rain Whispers, former head of the Bard Coven, rebel against Belos, and Ida's old romantic partner. While possessing their body, Belos starts to manipulate the Collector, telling him he's in danger, that King is going to betray him, and that Luce is back to stop him. Which, to be fair, isn't entirely wrong. It's just a little exaggerated. So, right as Luce's palisman hatches and everyone feels safe for a moment, we see the Collector and Belos spying on them. The Collector is now led to believe that everything Belos said was the truth, so when Belos tells the Collector to attack, he does. And with that, we're in finale territory. No going back now. And right at the start, things aren't going that great. The Collector turned Luce's friends into puppets and is using them to trap Luce, Ida, and King in waking nightmares. But when the Collector goofs up as Amity and says, "I challenge you to a witch's battle," Luce is like, actually, it's witch's duel. And quickly catches on to what's happening. The absolute power of Luce's friggin' dorkiness momentarily breaks the illusion so her friends can tell her how to snap out of it. So, using her light glyphs, Luce is able to wake herself up and do the same for Ida and King. And for the first time this whole season, Luce, Ida, and King are all finally back together. The reunion is short though, as the Collector pops in to play some games with them. And by play games, I of course mean place their lives in mortal danger for his amusement.
I used to always look at that sign, come on, own your own home. But one day I just said, okay, I'm gonna go talk to the banker. And he didn't tell me, no, it's not possible. He told me anything was possible.
Well, toys. So we got another montage of Luce and the gang being put through the Collector's wacky games. Their lives are in danger. Man, a lot of montages this season, huh? It's almost as if they were planning to make a lot more episodes, but for some reason weren't allowed to and had to cram a whole season's worth of story into just 3 episodes. But what are the odds of that? Anyway, while all this was going on, Belos, still controlling Rain, flies off to their old castle with just a real bad idea. So, remember how I said the Boiling Isles is built on the corpse of a giant dead Titan? And remember how Belos' old throne room was built at the heart of the Titan? And even though it was dead, the heart was still beating? And remember how Belos can now possess whatever or whoever he wants? Yeah. That's probably nothing. Let's check back in on Luce. After trying to play with Luce, Ida, and King for a while, and them very clearly not being into it being the imminent threat on their lives, the Collector gets sad, and the gang is finally able to just sit down and talk to him. And here we get some long-awaited backstory on the Collector. Apparently, a long time ago, the Collector's siblings, called the Archivists, sent him down to the Boiling Isles to play with all the Titans that roam the surface. And the Collector made friends with all the little baby Titans, just like King. But the sheer power of the Titans scared the Archivists. Apparently, the only thing more powerful than a Collector's magic is a Titan. So the Archivists started wiping them out, one by one. And that made the big Papa Titan real mad. But then he goofed up and blamed the Collector for what his siblings did, trapping him in that moon tablet and sealing sealing him away for, as long as it took to get to this point. So the Collector really is just a lonely kid looking to make friends, but doesn't know how. So Luce decides to teach him by showing him how she became friends with Ida, King, and the others, bringing him to multiple places across the Boiling Isles that meant a lot to her. Wait, what's that over there? Okay, so while Luce was teaching the Collector about kindness and forgiveness, Bellows ditched Rain's body and hopped right into the Titan's heart, now taking control of the entire Boiling Isles. That's maybe not going to be helpful. And with the power of a Titan now at his fingertips, what's the first thing that Bellows does? Moss! Moss everywhere! Evil, death-bringing moss! Bellows' moss spreads all across the Boiling Isles, consuming everything in its path, and soon forming a smaller, but still treacherously large Titan itself. This mossy Bellows Titan just starts spitting blue all over the place. But the Collector, having processed what Luce taught him, decides to pull a Steven Universe and just tries to hug it out.
Yeah, but this one's Steven Universe.
God! Okay, no, Luce flies in the last second to save the Collector. But in doing so, she got hit and the infection started. Soon it fully overtook her, disintegrated, and left Luce dead and gone. Cause of death? Moss. Obviously, this enrages Ida and King, who both go into full monster mode and attack Bellows. And the Collector starts to process that Luce is dead and what that really means. Meanwhile, Luce is fine. Well, kinda. She is dead, but she's not gone. We see her floating through this weird interdimensional purgatory where she meets, get this, Papa Titan. Yes, King's dad. The Titan the Boiling Isles is built on, and the one Bellows is currently puppeting. Also, he's voiced by Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps. This guy? Look at me!
That is crazy.
He does a great job. Anyway, Papa Titan is like, Luce, you looked after my kid real good. As a reward, here's literally all my powers. Okay, go save the world. I'm gonna die now. Bye! And then Luce just shoots right back up to the surface, now reborn with crazy Titan superpowers. She saves Ida, King, and the Collector from Bellows and flies off to the Titan's head. The Collector goes off on his own to protect everyone in the archives, having learned the error of his ways. And Luce, Ida, and King just go on a moss killing spree, helping to stop Bellows' invasion of the Boiling Isles before plunging right into the heart of the Titan, saving Rain, who's been stuck in the moss this whole time, and then just ripping Bellows out of the Titan's heart by hand. And with Bellows forced out of the Titan, he loses control, all the moss evaporates, and the Boiling Isles is saved. Hooray! But Bellows isn't done. With his plan completely foiled, this guy makes one last desperate attempt to gain control. He shapeshifts to take the form of his former self, Philip Whittabane, and lies through his teeth. He's like, oh, wow, did I do that? That's awkward, right? Well, it's a good thing you were here. I was actually cursed the whole time. That's right, and you freed me, and... Yeah, no one's buying any of Bellows' crap anymore, and Luce just backs away while Bellows is pelted with acid rain and literally stomped out of existence by Ida, King, and Rain. So Bellows is dead? Luce then loses her Titan powers, the Collector helps turn everyone back to normal and return them home, and all our heroes get reunited with their families. And... wait, hold on. Did no one die? Like, besides Bellows and Flapjack? Yeah. Huh, would you look at that? Basically everyone survived. Well, dang. The Collector, knowing how much growing up he still needs to do, flies off back to the cosmos. Luce gets reunited with her friends and family. Ida and King meet Camila for the first time. The gang get reunited with Hootie, who barely had a single line this whole season. Wow. And it seems like everything's back to normal. Fast forward a few years in a classic season finale time skip, and we see Luce in the human realm packing her things for college. In the Boiling Isles? Yeah, take that, Amphibia, with your heartbreaking commentary on letting go and moving on. The Owl House actually lets Luce maintain a life in both the human realm and the Boiling Isles. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. And as Luce packs her things, we get a beautiful end credit montage to see what everyone's up to now. Looks like Willow's become a Grudgeby pro, which is like a wizard sport. I can't remember if I mentioned it before. Hunter's carving palisman now and even got himself a new bird.
Funny internet videos.
Amity is Well, I'm not
regular
100% sure what she's
references.
doing, but she
Please.
looks like she's killing it. Speaking of which, Amity's dad has been working with Rain and the former Coven heads to develop a way to remove Coven sigils as the Boiling Isles ushers in a new era of, like, freedom and peace and whatever. And then there's the brand new University of Wild Magic, where Luce is about to attend. Gus is here teaching people about the human realm, which is really cute, and Ida is the headmaster. Yes, rebellious, school-hating Ida is now the headmaster of a university. And King is taller. And everyone gets together to meet Luce and Camila as they make their way back to the Boiling Isles, and they all throw her a huge surprise party. Even the Collector shows up to throw a crazy cosmic fireworks show. Everyone then piles in for one last freeze frame to send things off, and that was the Owl House.
Yep,
And
that was the end of
wait,
the album.
hold on. Yeah, there it is. Now the denial starts.
Yeah, now that the house starts around. Well, everybody, that was the recap of the Owl House. I hope y'all enjoyed this. And maybe in a moment, I am going to show y'all me working. I'm going to show y'all my progress of me working on a fanfic story of the Owl House. Yep, a full fanfic of the Owl House. I'm probably not gonna use my voice for it. I'm probably just gonna show me typing it, but well, yeah, that's it. I hope y'all have a good day. Bye.